we go. So I'm Doug Modia. I'm back once again, standing in as facilitator while we finish up work to bring on the right long-term facilitator for the CWGs. So today we have relatively short agenda for you, hopefully, so everyone can go on with their Valentine's Day plan for those that have them. On the agenda today, we have Erica providing an overall phase 2 project update. Then after Erica, Kristen's going to discuss the CWG work plan for 2023 with y'all. Then Adriano's here to give an update regarding the station refinement efforts for the Downtown and Diridon BART stations. Then after Adriano, you have Erica back again to discuss some project construction activities. Then at the end, as always, we'll have space for CWG member report outs. And just a reminder that those are the part of the meeting to share with the group how you've been sharing information and updates about the VSP2 project with your communities and what you've heard from them. And that's what we want to hear, but that's also your time to share whatever else you may want to share. And there might be some other things to share in that space that Kristen will discuss later that I will not steal her thunder. So let's next slide, please. So before we get into the presentation, just going through asking the CWG members present today to introduce themselves to the group, just name an organization, please. I'll start with Fred, your chair, and then I'll go on down the list. Fred, do you want to say hi?
Hello, Fred Buzo. I am the San Jose director for SPUR.
Thanks, Fred. Welcome. Adina, I didn't see Adina come in earlier. I don't see her at the moment. Alan, I know you're here. Want to say hi, Alan?
Yeah, how you doing? Alan Williams, neighborhood campus community association, also called Nagley Park.
Awesome. Welcome. I thought I saw Bert, but I don't see Bert now.
I am here.
Oh, there you are. Hey, Bert.
Yeah, here I am. Thank you. Hello, everyone. Bert Weaver from the Delmos Park neighborhood.
Excellent. Welcome. I don't see Carol. I don't see Charlie. And also, if there's someone else from an organization, please jump in. Chris, you're here. You want to say hi?
Chris Morrissey with the San Jose Arena Authority.
Thank you, Chris. Welcome. Dana. Don't see Dana. Derek. I don't see Derek. Edgar. Don't see Edgar either. Elizabeth. No. Jeffrey Buchanan. No. Jim Goddard. No. Larry Clark. No. Nate, you're here.
Hi, everybody. I'm
Jim Goddard's here.
San Jose Downtown Association.
So thank you, Nate and Jim Goddard. Sorry, I missed you. Hi, Jim. You want to say hi?
Yeah, Jim Goddard, Shark Sports and Entertainment.
Cool. Thanks, Jim. Next slide, please. So before we pass it over to Erica for the phase 2 update, just a quick reminder, some upcoming meetings related to VTA's BART phase 2 project. The next CWG meeting will be in May on the 16th, the one for the Downtown-Diridon and Downtown-Diridon stations. There's also the monthly VTA Board of Directors meetings in March, April, and May. And then Crystal will email out to the CWG list updates for other meetings. And next slide, please. With that, I'm going to pass it over to Erica for the phase 2 update.
Great. Thank you, Doug. As mentioned and emphasized in the February VTA Board of Directors meeting, we're remaining mindful and paying close attention to the project's costs, the schedule, and risks. We're continuing to emphasize the implications of cost, schedule, and risk as we make decisions on how to proceed with the project's design and construction. We very much are working to keep that in the forefront of our minds and what we want to do for the station refinement efforts, as well as moving forward in construction. With the addition of funding through FTA's New Starts, we're excited to have additional support to help aid in the success of the project, which I'll talk more about in just a second. In addition, we're preparing for early construction activities, and we'll be going to the board in the summer timeframe for approval to advance those the early construction activities. Excuse me. Wanted to emphasize that we're doing the best that we can to keep the schedule on track, as the delays to the project can cost millions of dollars. So these are the tensions and challenges that we're working through, trying to balance. Related to our funding plan, wanted to touch on.
Yep. Hey, Jim, I was going to write this in the chat. I was going to say in the chat, but I'll ask Erica to answer that question after she finishes this. She's just got a couple slides.
Got it.
Thanks. which let me just say that that is the expectation. Please hold your questions at the end of the section unless they're answered in the chat. So Erica, please continue.
Thank you. As you may recall, we have various funding sources at the federal, state, regional, and local level. Recently, we were resubmitted into FTA's New Starts program, and our funding plan is $4.6 billion. It allows us roughly 50% of the estimated cost to be funded through that program. In addition, we have the local, 2000 Measure A and the 2016 Measure B, as well as the state and regional, the regional Measure 3, as well as the state and intercity transit rail, transit and intercity rail capital program, so the TRCIP program. So previously we were awarded $750 million through that program. In addition, we just received an additional $375 million and from last year's state budget surplus made these additional funds available. So we're excited for this additional funding source for the project. And then now I just wanted to touch on recent and upcoming board updates. As Kristen emailed you about, there was an overview of the station refinement work that's been taking place for the Downtown-Diridon stations, as well as 28th Street at the February VTA Board of Directors meeting, which Adriana will be reporting out on in a little bit. In March, we'll be covering the early construction activities and site preparation that will be beginning in VTA's New Hall Yard at the board meeting. We'll expect to have anticipate an update on the business resource program in the spring timeframe, and we'll be coming back to the board in the summer timeframe for approval for early construction activity packages for the contractor. And that's the phase 2 update that we have, and I'd be happy to take questions.
Jim, Jim has a question in the chat, and his question is, when will heavy construction start in the Diridon area?
So we're still working with KSP, the contractor, on their schedule, and as they're advancing and determining that. So I don't know the exact time frame for that, but that's something that we can follow up on. I know it won't be, it will be sometime after the 2025 timeframe, but the exact date I don't know, and can follow up on that information, Jim.
So just in reference to that, your schedule that you presented just a moment ago indicated heavy construction begins in spring 24. Just as a point of reference, is that all then in Santa Clara, or what would proceed ahead of the Diridon area?
So the tunnel has to launch out of the west portal within VTA's New Hall Yard property, and that's what's going to happen in, so that's the spring 24 timeframe is when that board authorization for that to occur, and then the tunneling is anticipated to begin in early of 2025. And so then the tunnel has to progress to Diridon before then additional supportive excavation would happen after the tunnel passes through the
right.
Diridon area.
Thank you.
Erica, I had a question.
Yes.
On the funding circle, does that indicate that that funding now is whole, or is that just a partial illustration of what funding we have today?
Right, so the funding plan, so we have currently the funding plan, we are looking for additional state funding. So as of now, we have secured 1.125 billion. And so we're still looking, our funding plan shows 1.5 billion. So we're still looking for additional opportunities and exploring opportunities.
Okay.
So we have not quite completed the circle.
Okay, thanks.
Hi, Erica. I have a question regarding the downtown station on Santa Clara Street. We had originally understood that excavation was, the demolition of the Chase building was going to start in spring of 2023. Is that still anticipated?
I believe in somehow, yes, the time frame, the exact time frame is not fully determined, but yeah, sometime spring to summer timeframe, I think, is what's still anticipated, but the final details have not yet, the details haven't been finalized.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
Thank you, Erica. And Kristen, over to you.
Yeah, so here today to present our 2023 CWG work plan and also offer up some space for discussion on items that you're hoping to see as well. So we wanted to share the Downtown-Diridon Community Working Group draft plan for 2023. And as a reminder, this work plan is subject to change according to project milestones. And we are anticipating having our 4 meetings in February, May, September, and November this year. But if there is a specific need or project milestone that arises, we may have additional meetings as well. So this year, we're planning on providing various phase 2 program updates throughout the year, including updates on FTA and funding, contracting, and real estate. And as we ramp up for construction, there will also be plenty of construction updates, both related to project milestones as well as CP2 specific CTMPs. And we will be providing community engagement updates, including the business resource program, general outreach updates, and design review committees. Although we don't anticipate any DRC updates this year, we do expect to dive back into them next year in 2024. We also anticipate being able to share updates on station area planning and adjacent developments and government affair updates as well in the coming year. So knowing that this work plan is ever evolving, we definitely want to hear from you and see if there are any specific topics that you'd like to hear more on in the coming months. So we wanted to open up the floor and see if you'd like to suggest any topics in the chat or unmute yourself and share as well.
You can also raise your hand and we can call on you. And I saw Ellen come off mute, so I'll be quiet.
Yeah, wasn't sure how to want to do that, but I'm always interested in the non-BART stuff, the related things like the Caltrain, the Diridon station. So if they have time for that, I'd love to see that.
Okay. We'll note that down. Thanks for that suggestion. Any other suggestions or even re-emphasizing certain topics that are already slated? Another thing too to note is because we will be focusing a large bit on our construction as we're ramping up for it, I think that'll be a reoccurring topic in the coming, not just months, but years. And so curious to see how, as a CWG group, you'd like to be engaged in that capacity as well, because I think that's going to be a reoccurring main topic, I think, in the coming years. So if you have any ideas, definitely think on it. Feel free to email myself or even just provide input in the chat if there's certain things that come to mind to you on ways that you think your communities would like to be engaged. All right, if there's nothing else for the work plan, or if there's certain input that you'd like to provide feedback on, again, I emailed out the draft work plan to all of your emails. So do feel free to circle back with me if something comes up in the meantime. I know it's a lot to absorb, so feel free to reach out if something comes up. So another thing is, after discussing with our CWG chair, so with Fred.
Kristen, sorry to butt in. We do have something in the chat about from ECH. Oh, that must be Elizabeth. Elizabeth said that she missed your last point. Can you repeat that? Elizabeth, maybe you can give Kristen a little bit of a hint about the last point.
Hi, everyone. Yes. Hi, Kristen. You're saying something about something you're looking for community inputs, and I'm sorry, I missed what the topic was. Can you repeat that, please?
Yeah, no worries. So I did send out the Downtown-Diridon CWG 2023 draft work plan to your emails, and I know that this is an open space to discuss it here, but knowing that there's a lot of different topics in the upcoming year, feel free to reach out and email me back if there's certain things that you or your community would like to hear more on. I know there's plenty of topics, so feel free to think on it and respond later or in the chat if it comes up in this meeting as well.
Okay, thanks,
Yeah.
got it.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, so beyond the work plan, we did have the chance to discuss with Fred potentially including additional CWG members. And so our BSVE team has begun researching and looking into potential additions and organizations to reach out to. And through the potential addition of CWG members, we're really hoping to diversify and broaden representation amongst our CWG members and integrate some of your suggestions from earlier meetings on some of the certain organizations that you thought that we should engage with. And so the addition of these CWG members will hopefully work to enhance our multidisciplinary group with backgrounds in education, active transportation, and other underrepresented groups. So although we haven't gone through the process of specifically reaching out to any groups, we wanted to remind you that the potential new members would all have to meet our CWG member criteria. And again, that includes not having more than one seat per organization across all CWGs, and the nominee must live or work within a half mile from the alignment or represent a group or organization that's focused specifically on issues that are concerned within the half-mile radius. The nominee also must not be an elected official or working directly for an elected official that represents San Jose, Santa Clara, or Santa Clara County. And the nominee also must not have a conflict of interest with regards to the project in the following categories: so properties or VTA current or potential vendors, consultants, or contractors. So just a refresher there. Obviously, all of you current CWG members fit this criteria. And so going forward, if we were to add any potential new members, they would also have to align with this criteria as well. So if there, again, are any organizations that you think would be good for us to reach out to look into, to engage with, we'd love to hear it. So feel free to put it in the chat or email myself. And again, they won't necessarily be CWG members. They'd have to meet this criteria, and we'll look further into it, but we'd love to hear your input as to who you think we should engage with. So another question that came up as we plan and prepare for our upcoming meetings, we'd just like to get a pulse of whether you would like to continue having virtual meetings or whether to try and have in-person meetings going forward. And so I have a single poll question here that I'm going to pull up now and would love for you guys to answer as you see fit. And I do want to clarify as well that we wouldn't have hybrid meetings, so it'd only be strictly virtual or strictly in person. So I'm going to launch the poll here. And feel free to respond and answer, and then I'll share the results of the poll, and we'll look into what makes the most sense for everybody. All right, seeing that the numbers are starting to level out, I'm going to give the poll 5 more seconds and close it. All right. I'm going to just share the results now. So it seems like most folks will either only attend virtual meetings or will attend whatever option is made available. So we can have continued discussions offline, but thanks for this feedback. I think it's really helpful as we continue to plan for our future CWG meetings, especially looking to our next one in May. So thanks for your input.
Cool. Thank you, Kristen. We can stop there and see if there's questions or comments for Kristen, and that can also be verbally sharing potential orgs or potential new orgs or members for the CWG. We also have the chat, the CWG member report out to share that info. So questions, comments for Kristen? Seeing no hands, hearing nothing, not seeing anything in the chat. I'm pausing. Okay, I think we're over to Adriano for a station refinement update. Adriano, you are up.
Hi, everyone. Hi, everyone. So we presented on this a couple of times late last year, but as you might recall, the VTA project was asked to explore station refinements for the downtown and Diridon stations, with the primary focus of improving connectivity and access to the stations, as well as looking for better opportunities to integrate TOD on the sites. The caveat being that we wanted to make sure we could explore opportunities that could be pursued within the current project and current funding plan. And if not, then explore opportunities to accommodate those as future projects. This effort happened in parallel to the state tunnel innovation period, which included the new tunnel layout configuration. And so those are also incorporated into the refinements. Next slide, please. So as I'm sure you've seen it several times at this point, the new proposed tunnel configuration includes a center platform with a above concourse. So this primarily would mean that all passengers would access the platform using the exact same route. So this is shown here in the figure on the right, which shows that there would be a single attic connections for passengers to go from the concourse level over into the tunnel. And then from there, they can access the platform below. So this effort included stakeholder and agency input and engagement. We started in early summer and held a series of workshops to explore multiple, opportunities and refinements. Then we further advanced those to ensure that the concepts were feasible and could be accommodated within the project, and then have further advanced the design once we got feedback from the contractor. So in general, one of the sentiments for the downtown and the Diridon stations was a desire to really focus on the passenger experience and placemaking in the area. And so one of the things that we want to look at is, rather than focus on maximizing developments immediately above the stations, seeing how we can take inspiration from other stations, even in San Francisco, such as Salesforce Transit Center or the Chinatown Rose Park station. So on at the downtown station, the primary focus really was to improve passenger experience and so the baseline design on the left is shown on the left, and the refined concept is shown on the right. The baseline design had a series of 3 to 4 escalators, depending on what level you are trying to access, with 2 to 3 switchbacks. On the right, the refined concept shows a larger diameter shaft, and that allows us to really reduce the number of escalators and switchbacks, so providing a much more intuitive and direct experience for passengers. So overall, the refinements to this station significantly improve the passenger experience. The larger diameter shaft does limit the opportunity for dense development above the station building itself. We are further exploring opportunities for rooftop amenities and ensuring that the station would fit in with the surrounding urban fabric. But overall, As shown on the next slide, we feel there's a lot of development planned, not only downtown, but even on the VTA block itself, and that this refinement can still be advanced without significantly impacting VTA's vision for TOD on the block. Another focus of the station refinement effort was to discuss and evaluate opportunities for a southern entrance. So VTA and the city looked at several sites and determined that the corner of Santa Clara Street and 2nd Street would really provide the best opportunity. However, this is a historic block, and so the historic nature of the property wouldn't allow for the addition of a southern entrance to be included without significantly delaying the project and impacting its ability to secure funding from the FTA. So instead, VTA has made the decision to extend the concourse eastward and include a knockout panel that is shown by the darker blue line on the bottom of the image. And that would really facilitate a future connection if a second entrance could be advanced as a parallel project. So at the February VTA Board of Directors, we heard and were asked to continue to work with the city and to further explore a feasible path forward for providing this southern entrance. At the Diridon station, passenger experience was already more direct with a single switchback to access the top level platforms. So the focus here was really to explore opportunities to facilitate transit-oriented development on the station. The baseline design is shown on the left and the refined concept on the right. The baseline design included the ability to accommodate 1 story of TOD above the back of house facilities on the south side of the block. For an additional cost, further accommodations could be made to allow for a higher density transit-oriented development, but that would be subject to very stringent design standards that make the cost of construction a lot higher. On the right, the refined concept, one of the other benefits of the innovations of the tunnel is that it allows for this additional space on the bottom, below passenger facilities to be used. And so we've been able to relocate back of house facilities down below, and that really allows for that space to be fully used by TOD. So this removes the cost to VTA to accommodate TOD above the facilities, and it also significantly reduces the cost of constructing that TOD, in addition to opening up the opportunity to provide below ground amenities, which was not an option earlier. So overall, the concept allows for more efficient construction of the station facilities while making TOD significantly more attractive and feasible. Again, to put it in context, the Diridon area has a lot of planned development. And so we were still working and will continue to work with the city and the community to ensure that the designs of the station fits in with the surrounding fabrics. VTA also worked closely with the city, spur, and rail transportation partners to explore opportunities to integrate the Diridon disc station and BART stations through the provision of a second entrance that could be fully integrated into the disc concourse. At this time, it was determined that the future entrance could not be included as part of the project, largely due to the uncertainty of the design and plan for the future disc concourse. However, this is not a future entrance is not fully precluded. This can still be constructed in the future as a separate project. Excuse
Sorry,
me.
got a question? What's the disc?
Disc is the Diridon intermodal station concept, which is the future Diridon station as envisioned by all the rail partners in the area. All All right, and then while not specifically part of the this refinement effort, one of the additional benefits of the innovations of the that came from the contractor is a re-envisioned way to construct the 28th Street Little Portugal station. And so it would be constructed in a similar way to the other two San Jose stations with a circular large diameter shaft that would connect to the tunnel. This would significantly reduce the impacts of construction to the surrounding community. I do not have a next step slide, but I did want to mention that this effort really focused on the design decisions that had to be made to allow the KST or the tunnel contractor to move forward with their designs. There are still opportunities, and the project will continue to work with community and our partners to design the outside of the stations and you know, the architectural finishes of those. Those are not dictated by the shaft, the shaft itself.
Thank you, Adriano. There's a number of questions that have popped up, so I'm gonna click down them. And I also see Elizabeth, I have your hand up. I'm gonna try to go over the questions in the order that I received them. And Erica, I saw you came on camera, so I think you might be a good person to answer some of these as well. There was the question about which is slide 24, downtown or Diridon. And the answer is that's Diridon. I don't know if Kristen, if you want to flip back to that. So it doesn't say Diridon on the slides. It just folks know exactly that's Diridon slide 24. And then Jim, you also have the question of how much larger is this station shaft? Can I clarify if there's a particular station you're asking about? I think it might be the Diridon station specifically. Is that correct?
Well, actually, I mean, I was asking, it turns out it was about the downtown station, because I understand now that Diridon didn't change in that regard.
That is correct. So the downtown station has now a larger diameter shaft that is consistent and the same actually as the Diridon station. So it's around 130 feet in diameter.
Fine.
Thank you. And then Bert, you have a question in the chat as well. Does the mezzanine, and Bert, I might ask you to clarify if you're talking about asking about the downtown or Diridon station. Does the mezzanine allow for an additional entrance on the north side of Clara? Oh, that's definitely the Diridon station. Does the mezzanine allow for an additional entrance on the north side of Santa Clara Street in front of the SAP Center?
Yeah, the VTA and the city and Spur explored the opportunity to provide that. While the mezzanine does allow for that connection, there were a lot of significant challenges with the sites immediately across the street. So that wasn't really pursued by the project right now, but if that becomes a desire in the future, that I don't think that the current design precludes that from happening.
Elizabeth, I see you have your hand up.
Hi, yeah, Adriano, I know I might have asked you this in person, and I know a lot of downtown residents may have already approached you, but I don't think we understand why all of a sudden a lot of successful, we have very few successful ones remaining, but you're closing some of them, when we have this empty storefronts issue already. Was that because you're trying to locate or find a second entrance, or?
No, the closing of the storefronts is completely unrelated to this station refinement effort specifically. I can't really speak to a lot of or why some of these are closing. I can follow up with my real estate partners. I know if it is related to the project, then they would be able to answer that.
Yeah,
Yes,
I mean,
Erica,
I
do you
think,
have anything to add?
I don't believe there are storefronts that are closing as a result of the project's construction or acquiring it for the project.
So
outside of the locations where the entrance buildings are going to be.
So
And so
why,
what
why are they?
locations exactly are you referring to?
Well, I guess, you know, we're around Third Street and Santa Clara, so, you know, the residents around there is a Mexican bakery, there's Enzo Bar. You also closed down Umbrella and Eric Cafe, just, we have very few successful business remaining. Why are we closing them at this point? I guess that's a question. I'm sure you have your reasons, Adriana. I think you explained to me in person that there's some good reasons, but I don't think we had a clear answer as to why.
Yeah, so I can't speak to really exactly what is happening here, but I do know that the process for VTA to be able to move forward with construction, first and foremost, starts with working with tenants and businesses and looking for opportunities to relocate them. And so that is something I can follow up on and report back to this group.
Great, thanks.
Alan, see you have your hand up.
Yeah, thank you. Wondering about the, you answered my question on the meeting chat. Does that mean that we're final on the need or absence of the ventilation emergency egress points on 13th Street?
So the team is still internally looking within the tunnel, and so that decision has not yet officially been made. But the size and that there are center platforms at the stations and the size of the tunnel have officially, those decisions have been made, and we will be sure to share. And I personally know that you are very passionate about it, and we'll be sure to let you know as soon as we know what the plan is.
Well, I wouldn't say passion is just,
on it yet.
that's the one that affects my neighborhood the most.
Concerned. Yes.
So when's the decision for that?
They're actively working on it right now, so anticipated to becoming in the fairly near future. But we'll be sure to let you know as soon as we know more information on the timing or what the decision is.
Okay, thank you.
All right, people are interested in what you have to say, Adriano. Are there any other questions or comments for Adriano or Erica based on the content that Adriano just shared on the Diridon downtown station refinements?
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you, Adriano. And I don't see any hands up, don't see anything in the chat. So we're going to jump on to the next section. Erica, you are back up with construction activities.
Great, thank you. It's been quite a while as we go to the next slide, but we're beginning and having some additional field investigations. We'll be doing some exploratory borings in the along the alignment with this work starting later this month. But we'll have several, over 50 boring locations. The picture here on the screen is an example of what the equipment looks like. As we've done previously, we'll distribute construction notices for these field investigations, and I'm just going to walk through some of them adjacent to the Downtown-Diridon area as well. So we'll have some geotechnical borings in the Diridon station area, both within the VTA parking lot, south of Santa Clara Street, as well as in the public right-of-way, under where kind of the orange work zone area is there between Montgomery and Cahill. So there'll be lane closures associated with the borings, as well as the temporary relocation of a bus stop. Each boring location is anticipated to take approximately 1 day. And so we're coordinating with VTA operations for relocating the bus stop and following standard city procedures. Next slide. There'll be additional locations adjacent to the future downtown San Jose station area with lane closures and bus stop relocations here as well. And then the last slide will be completing one near the 17th Street Bridge as well. There's others throughout the alignment, and as we distribute the notices, we'll be sure to let you all know that you can share, and will be posted on our website, but just wanted to share with you in advance here also. Now on to the Construction Transportation Management Plan update. To give a reminder of the development process of the contract-specific construction transportation management plans, We're currently, I mentioned last time that we had kicked off the first one. We're currently having regular coordination meetings with the contractor, VTA, and the cities. In addition, we're regularly coordinating with adjacent businesses and institutions throughout the development of the plans to provide input. And we'll be presenting the draft plan on how access for all modes will be coordinated during construction to the community. We're going to host public meetings within the individual work areas that are covered by each contract package 2 specific CTMP. And the public meeting will include the development process, the schedule, and details on the construction work areas, work hours, and the plans to minimize impacts. And next slide, we will be getting ready to host our first public meeting. So as the first document we're working on is for the early construction activities within VTA's new hall yard to get ready for the preparation of the launch of the tunnel boring machine. We will be hosting an in-person meeting at Santa Clara University on March 15th, which is a Wednesday, and we'll have a virtual meeting the following day. So we'll be sending out Kristen will send out the flyer and the meeting details, as we're just finalizing those now, but wanted to let you know. And we'll look forward to having you assist with the distribution. As this is farther away from downtown Diridon area, you're welcome to join us, as this is more over near the west portal, just north of 880 area within VTA's new hall yard property. So more to come soon on that. And then my last slide, just a reminder. So the first CTMP is under the number 1 there, and the area of work for the remaining early works along the alignment will likely be grouped together, the number 2s there, but we're still working with the contractor. They're still refining how they're going to break out and develop the different documents. So we'll be sure to keep you updated as the plans progress. And that's all I've got for the construction update.
Thanks, Erica. Are there questions or comments for Erica? They can go in the chat. They can go in the question and answer box, or raise your hand. Alan.
Just checking on the CMT. You mentioned the community engagement CMTP. When is that going to happen? I'm very interested in how the community gets to participate in that in terms of how to manage construction issues.
I'm sorry, can you ask your question one more time, Alan?
Oh, just when are we going to be able to engage with you and the contractors with the CMTV plan? Just trying to understand how we get to, raise issues, what the controls are going to be, so the neighborhoods and businesses can coexist with the construction.
Yes. So that will be through that public meeting venue. I mean, we'll meet with the groups. We're meeting with the groups adjacent to the work areas as it's happening. But for this first one, the way to learn more about it will be at the public meetings on March 15th and March 16th for the work that will be happening over in the area in orange on the alignment graphic over here within VTA's new hall yard property.
Okay, when are the number 2s? The other one's going to happen.
So I'll keep you updated. The contractor is just starting to develop the next one as they're doing it in a progression, and so I don't know the time frame yet of when that will be, or kind of how if they're all going to be number 2 combined together, or how they're going to do it. They're still refining that process.
Okay,
So
I
I'll
was
continue
kind of
to keep you updated here.
Just
Yeah.
looking at like if it's like 2023, 2024. I'm not looking for a particular date.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, so it would be later in 2023.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
And we have a question from Sandra in the chat. Can you confirm, I think maybe, do you know the timing of the borings on Santa Clara Street between Market and First?
I don't off the top of my head, but we can circle back with you and let you know, Sandra.
And those are all the questions that I see. And those would be this year, right? Starting in February. So sometime this year, we can at least say that. Let's see. So any, are there any other
In
questions?
the March timeframe is when it will be, but as far as the exact anticipated schedule, I can confirm. I'll look it up while we're doing the next agenda item and put it in the chat.
Thank
Perfect.
you.
Thank you, Erica. Are there other questions or comments for Erica before we go to the CWG member report out? Okay, I don't see anything in the chat. Don't see any hands up. So the next slide, please. You know, this is the reminder, right? We're looking for you about how you've been sharing information with your communities about VTA's BART project and what you've been hearing from them. You know, so we can have the right information and address it appropriately to successfully deliver this project together. So that's what we'd like to hear you share. And also, you know, if you have other ideas for organizations or people that may be good candidates to join this CWG, it's a good time to share that as well. So the floor is open for CWG members. And just raise your hand and I can call on you. Fred.
Yeah, I mean, I would just with regard to the possibility of bringing new members on board. Well, one idea might be to just check with the current organizations, and if some folks just haven't been showing up from those organizations, there might be someone else who's just better suited to you know, schedule wise to appear. So I think about like San Jose State, and I love Charlie. He's a great guy, but I also know he's like really busy. So I don't know, maybe there's someone else from San Jose State, for example, who could come, you know, or, and then some of the other folks too. These are all great people. And so, and I'd love to see those organizations represented. So I just want to look at it that way.
Good thoughts. Thanks for sharing, Fred. Chris.
So recently we've had VTA staff make updates to the San Jose Arena Authority Board, and our next board meeting is tomorrow. So I'll be presenting some of the details that were discussed today at the Arena Authority Board meeting.
Awesome. Thank you for doing that. That the system is working, and thank you for sharing that.
Sure.
Anyone else?
This is the San Jose Downtown Resident Association. I think I gather a lot of information, some which is very relevant to the residents. So I know we had you maybe 2 years ago. Maybe it's time to invite a representative to come and present to us. It probably wouldn't be at a board meeting, but we can hold like a Zoom town hall for you. And I already expressed what I heard the most is about the closing of downtown businesses during this time. So when people get back to me, I guess I will reach out and see if somebody can come and do a town hall meeting for us.
That sounds good. We are open to doing those. Thank you for that. And we look forward to that invitation. Fred, you're back.
Yeah, just following up on something that Elizabeth said. I mean, I can tell you that just sort of walking down Santa Clara Street and then walking by Umbrella, knowing that it's closed, but then also seeing it looks like there's construction going on in there. You know, it just raises questions, I can tell you. And I don't know what to tell people at all when they ask, hey, what's going on in Umbrella? Like, I have no idea, but it looks like there's like active construction going on inside Umbrella. And so, yeah, so just kind of maybe getting some information about that, and if that's related to the project, then how that might work in the future with other businesses that that unfortunately have to be closed to accommodate the project.
Thank you for sharing that. I think it sounds like we clearly have something we want to try to cover at the next CWG meeting, if not sooner. Any other CWG members? Anything you'd like to share with the group? Okay, I don't see anything in the chat. Don't see any hands up. So thanks everybody for participating today, as always. We'll see you back here for the next Downtown-Diridon CWG meeting, May 16th. I probably won't be your facilitator then, but who knows? And then, and this is the draft agenda that we have. So the phase 2 update, construction update, you know, we can fit that topic in about, you know, what's happening with real estate acquisitions for the BSV project under those topics. Community engagement update, and then CWG member report back that we just finished with. So with that, we are just about to finish. I will leave a little bit of
I just
space if there's
wanted to
anything
mention
else.
quick-
Yep.
I just wanted to mention that the closing of the umbrella salon is not related to the BART Phase 2 project. So it's adjacent to where that will be, but that's not part of the project area. It's not one of the acquisitions. I just want to add that clarification.
Yeah. So, well, thanks for that, Erica, because the word on the street is that it was related, you know, so like I said, and I didn't know what to tell people. So thank you though. Yeah. Thanks for sharing that.
You're welcome.
Alan.
Yeah, just to kind of link the two issues I brought up, the 13th Street decision on whether it's going to be something there or not, and the CMTP for this area. Obviously, the decision has to be made for that before we can review the CMTP plans for this area, because that'll obviously have some impact for 13th Street. So I assume that the decision for what we're doing at 13th Street is going to be made before the CMTP stuff. Briefings with the neighborhoods.
Right. Yes. So yes. If there will be construction there, then there will be a CTMP that will be completed for the 13th Street area, and we'll definitely keep you updated regardless. And
Okay.
so if it does, yes.
Great. And does anyone have anything else before we adjourn and let everyone go about their Valentine's days?
Doug, I just wanted to mention, if this is your last meeting, you did an excellent job as moderator. Thank you.
Oh, thanks, Chris. I will say secretly, I hope they bring me back for the full funding grant agreement when that announcement comes, so I can say I spanned that range. So
Yeah, I hope so too. I hope so too.
thanks everybody. It's been fun. For the most part. They you know how it goes, man. I should.
Yep.
I'm starting to spitball at the end of this. So anyone have anything else before we let everyone go about their Valentine's days? All right. Well, we hope. Yep.
Oh, I just had a really quick question. Erica, you mentioned that the closures of or the moving of Umbrella Salon had nothing to do with the project. I thought my understanding was that BART was, or VTA was moving some of their offices into that space. Is that not correct? Because
Yes. Yes. I think we can circle offline. Yes, the VTA Customer Service Center is moving into the Eric's Deli location, which I know is adjacent to that as well. So I think let's circle offline on that, and we can report back to
okay,
everyone.
just wanted to be clear because it is a little bit confusing. Thanks.
Can we also note to just report back to this group at the next CWG meeting with that information clearly? Cool. Anything else? Don't see chats, don't see hands. Thank you very much, everybody, for a lovely CWG meeting. Have a great Valentine's Day. I'm not going to say much more than that. Have a great one, everyone. We'll see you around.
Thanks, Doug.
Adjourned.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Bye.
Take care.
Bye-bye. everyone.
Bye.
Bye all.
Bye.